But don't talk about me without me. This is my life. It looks like that until you get back.
That's actually good.
Good morning, MacIntyre. Rosie speaking. How can I help? Okay. I think the busiest day for me is a Monday, because I do volunteer work at the hospital, at a legal phone shop, by a restaurant, and that can get very busy. I'm on my feet all day, so at least 10 to 3. Tuesday and Friday, I work at the head office at MacIntyre, so likewise, it's very similar to what I do here. I'm on reception, answering incoming calls. I can come to rate of every 2 or 3 minutes. And then on a Wednesday, I work on an outdoor catering service, where I should be today. And they had 5 orders on today. But they knew I was doing this. And so it didn't matter so much. And then, obviously on a Thursday, I'm over here, which will be tomorrow.
I support Rosie on a Monday and Thursday for 3 hours. Each day, evening, 4 till 7. We generally go to the city centre, have a coffee, have a little chat and a catch up. Then we go and a shopping list, and then each shop cross off what we get and what we haven't got and carry it over to the next week. And then on a Thursday we generally go food shopping at Sainsbury's. But we do stop and have a coffee and a cake before we go, or you have your dinner, don't you? And then we go around Sainsbury's, do all your shopping, pack it up. We tend to like going the self-checkout, because we're better at it, aren't we?
Yes.
Because they end up throwing it down the aisle and she's like, no, stop. So we do it ourselves. We find going our self-checkout, we do it at a steady pace, and you pack it up how you want to pack it up, don't you? So you rather do that, or you get all panicky. And then we get the taxi home, and I fill in our daily, Rosie's daily sheet to say what we've done, any concerns, and how Rosie's been, and if she's been upset or she's happy, and and you sign that, don't you?
I do, yeah.
And yeah, so it's generally good. Good times, don't we?
Yes.
And next Saturday we're going to the theatre to watch Footloose.
Oh yeah.
In the afternoon, aren't we?
We're
going to go out for lunch,
yeah.
And then we're going to watch Footloose at Little
yes.
Keynes Theatre. So we're both excited about that, aren't we?
I'm so glad it's a week on Saturday.
Yeah, a week Saturday.
I got my flu jab this Saturday.
Oh, have you?
But don't worry, I don't need you for that.
Okay, you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay, that's fine then.
Having Down syndrome, even though I was born with it, which I don't mind saying, doesn't mean I can't do the things that I can do. It's about the little things that you can do that keeps me going, because that's what counts. And I always find that that's what keeps me busy. And not only that, but it gives me something to do.
Nice to see you, Rosie.
Me too.
Yeah, do take a seat, you can have a chat.
Okay.
Well, I've already ordered my coffee, but we'll have to get you a drink as well.
That's not good.
Okay, do you normally... Lovely. do a cheers like we did before, don't you?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Originally, I was living over the road in residential for 13 years. So naturally, it was my mother who first saw this on the market. She then called my brother. He said, "Stacey, go for it!" Because otherwise I would have been still over there. But luckily, it got to March of 2003 when I moved in here. I'm now been here for 13 years, so it's going to be 26 years in MacIntyre. Welcome to my home. Because I always find that there's a saying, "There's no place like home." I get that from the Wizard of Oz, and because this really is my home, I'm so proud of it.
It's a bit of friendship. If she's feeling down or she just needs a chat to help her, as a friend as well, as a support worker. If she needs anything or she's upset or anything's troubling her, then she can actually come to me, and that's really rewarding for me, that she has that and she can come to me, because there has been instances where she needed that, some advice, which I'll give her, and she really appreciated that I've done that. And I find that really rewarding, that I can give her that. And she looks forward to seeing me every day, and she gives me a big hug. She's so happy to see me, and she puts a smile on my face, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm seeing Rosie in the evenings." Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, and sometimes, likewise, I'm the same with Keely. We have a great relationship together. We often do hairdressing skills on her long hair, what have you. Okay, I have Down syndrome. I don't suffer from it, because I live a healthy life, and there's so much I could do more of with my life, and to the extent of what else I can do. So with bearing that in mind, I can do so much more in my life, even if I've got Down syndrome or not, because I know I have so much potential I can do in my life.
When you went to the House of Lords, why were you there, and what were you talking to people about when you went? And started off when I went to the House of Lords.
No, of course. Okay, well, it was some weeks ago now, if I can remember, because myself, there's Catherine Farrell that came, and she is, I can't remember what her job is, but there's also Emma Killick. She's the area manager for operational, so all three of us got the train down there into London. Also it's across the underground. So when we got there, we couldn't get in until about 3 o'clock, so we had a drink somewhere, and just by being down there, and I guess there were two sets to this. There's one set where we had the LDA, Learning Disability England, but there's also quality checkers. But obviously, in my job as an expert by experience, it's also known as quality checkers. That's the reason I was invited down there. So, on my part, because I'm not the only expert in Milton Keynes, we do have other people across the country that are. And so I'm also an expert for the council as well, which I do. I go on visits. But basically, when it did get to 3 o'clock, we got in. Obviously, we had to have our. It's a bit like an airport.
Yeah,
You have to check your bags and what have you. And then of course we went into this room where the presentation was, and so we were able to. There was a spread of sandwiches, tea, coffee, and what have you. I couldn't wait to get a coffee. I was parched. But then we had 2 baronesses. One of them was a wheelchair user. There was a parent that spoke because she had a son with Down syndrome. We had guest speakers, and it was more talking about not only quality checkers but also the story behind Learning Disability England, because some people were awarded trophies, and for that, to which one of the people who lives over here got one, but she couldn't make it that day. But she was doing something else at the time. But yeah, it was a really great day all round.
So tell me about the music that you listened to for.
Well, as you surmise, I got my radio down there at the end. It's mostly classical music, but sometimes on Classic FM they do bring movies into it, movie themes. So it might be Braveheart, which a lot of the time that comes on. There was Duty to a Man's Desiring by Bach. Whenever that comes on, I start cringing. I'm not joking. That might be because I don't know if it's worth mentioning. I'm not going to cry. I'm okay. Because whenever I hear Duty to a Man's Desiring on the radio, it's like, oh, here we go again. Because, and I don't mind saying it, because it was one of the pieces of music my father wanted at his funeral service. And I think that's one of the reasons why whenever that comes on the radio, I won't turn it off, but I'll go into another room and play the piano.
It's a very sad hymn, isn't it? Anyway, I always think it's one of the saddest hymns.
Yeah, I think most of the funeral services I've been to from the church have requested that one, because it's just so popular these days.
Tell me about movies.
Movies.
What movies?
Braveheart has to be one of them. Oh yes. Braveheart is one of them. I think sometimes they'll put on a scene from Harry Potter. Here's a big scene. Another one would be, I often get to hear, I know Alec Jones does a lot of radio work on Classic FM. He has his slot on there. And so he'll put on Danny Boy with him when he was 12 years old, 20 years now. So you can actually tell the difference between the two.
Yes, and I always wondered why Alec Jones, now when you hear him talking, he's got a big deep voice, and yet he had a high soprano voice, but of course that was a long time ago.
I think the story there is because when he became the age of 5, he broke his voice. But as he got older and older, his voice came back, and already not only he does the radio side, he does the weekend program on the TV, in a living room style. He presents songs of praise, those kind of programs. I first started at the piano. I was very young at the time, because we moved to Staffordshire when I was 6. So I began lessons then from somewhere on the corner. I then went on to having passed for exams in the piano. For the past 17 years, I'm now doing music at the church, and I'm now all of a sudden teaching the hymns. So I know because the ministry we now have doesn't get to me till 10 o'clock at night. And he's got children, and I have more time to do it. So in that sense, I'm doing that. The bit from that syndrome is I don't suffer from it.